Okay, now we're going to move into the next segment of our class where we're going to be looking at an extremely important topic for families who we would consider to be affluent or high net worth families. Typically, when you have a large amount of wealth, it could be the case that the wealth has accumulated over a number of generations, at least one or more generations, where there may be children and grandchildren, even great grandchildren involved in the mix and benefiting from the wealth. So, while the typical financial planning process may involve the relationship of a wealth management advisor working with a family towards meeting their immediate and their future financial needs for themselves and maybe their children, global wealth management for high net worth families looks beyond the current generation and well into the future in an attempt to identify not only the most appropriate ways to help them accumulate, preserve, and then transfer that property, but also looking more deeply into the family to uncover its values, the family's vision, the goals that the family may have had for generations past and then well into the future, not only for their wealth, but also just in shaping the lives of their children and their great grandchildren and future generations who may be inheriting their fortunes. And this expands not only to the family, but also to the public. When you see the arts, healthcare, humanitarian need, the development of science around the world, these philanthropic type of organizations that are out there, many of those were founded by high net worth families who wanted to have an impact beyond their lives and on into future generations. There's a common phrase, rags to riches to rags in less than 3 generations. And that's been used many years by financial advisors, wealth advisors, to explain to high net worth clients the reality or the truth that a family can emerge from relative obscurity. And within 1 generation, they can become extremely wealthy and influential throughout the world. And in less than 2 or 3 generations, they can lose all of that wealth through lack of management, lack of a vision, lack of family goals, lack of training of family members. The authors of the book, Family Wealth Management, Family Wealth. I'll hold it up for you so you can see the title of the book. Excellent book, by the way, by Mark Danielle and Tom McCullough. They lay out 7 imperatives for wealth management of high net worth families. And they give a really good example in this book of what they refer to as energy. Basically, what they're saying is they talk about how money can actually be thought of as a type of energy. And that energy can grow, continue to grow, and provide warmth and protection and benefit not only the family, but society at large, and can be used for a lot of good throughout the world. This flame that brings good can also burn for many years beyond the family that generated that energy. And it can continue to grow. But if it's not tended to in a very careful manner, then that energy may just die out and maybe have no counterbalancing, offsetting energy to replace it. It just dies out. It just goes away and the lights go out, so to speak. So without this flame, everyone loses. The family, the children, the future generations that could have benefited from that, society that could have benefited from that as well. And so when that happens, many family dynasties, high net worth families that could have continued for generations, end up in ashes and with many regrets of the family members, wondering what happened. How did it happen? Some even ending in pure tragedy. So as we talk about global wealth management, naturally the phrase implies some level of wealth. Let me get back on the screen here. If I can adjust that. Just a moment. There we go. I kind of moved our PowerPoint away there. As we talk about global wealth management, the phrase implies that there's some level of wealth that is involved here of 10 million, 15, 20 million dollars and above. Whether we're looking at estates of that amount or estates of hundreds of millions of dollars, a primary goal of a wealth management advisor and the team of advisors is going to be to address not only the money management piece of that and the business management piece of that, but also to clearly identify the family's vision. What is the mission of the family? What are the values, the principles of that family? What are their goals? What are their goals for their children, their heirs down line? And finally, for the ultimate use of their wealth throughout the world, what are their ideas? What are their aspirations? So this is not to be taken lightly, and there are firms that specialize in doing just that, helping families identify those things. Look at the family dynamic the way you would look at a business. That is like if a business has to compete in the world, in the business world. there are critical decisions that have to be made by CEO, CFO, marketing teams, within the business management of a company. The same can be said for high net worth families. Well, some financial estate plans can be fairly straightforward with their net worth families, but as the estate continues to grow, the owners will typically need at some point the assistance of some outside professionals to help them navigate those financial, legal, tax, environmental, family, cultural issues within the family, helping the client map out a plan to continue growing, not only growing, but preserving that estate that they're building, and then applying that, the framework or applying the plan in order to transfer that vision, that wealth, consistent with the dreams of those who built that family dynasty, helping them move that to realize their principles and their goals for their family. So there's definitely not one solution or framework for all. It is clear, though, that as your net worth increases above some point, I'm not going to try to name a dollar amount. Let's just throw out a number, 10 million, $15 million. Some families need to start considering more of a team of professionals that are coordinating their activities together, because up until that point, it's possible that families may have one financial advisor, one wealth management advisor. They may have a CPA that's kind of a standalone, and these advisors are not really working together necessarily as a team. Perhaps you could compare it to the healthcare field, where it would be very unhealthy for a patient with a complex medical condition to have healthcare providers who really weren't even speaking to each other. They weren't looking at each other's records through a coordinated healthcare system. Prescriptions were being prescribed for the patient that may have drug interactions, very unhealthy. So likewise with financial or wealth management, a coordinated effort is needed among the advisory team. And that team may consist of 4 or 5, maybe 7 or 8 advisors from different professional disciplines. And they all need to be on board working together with one another, and also in sync with the family's vision and the family's worldview. So working with advisors who do not have the same worldview as the client or with each other can create conflict across the board. So there are many firms that specialize in values-based wealth management. They go by a number of different phrases. That's a very common: values-based estate planning, values-based wealth management. So using the framework of the book that I mentioned as a guide, we're going to explore those 7 imperatives, as well as some of the supporting documents for that. And so hopefully you'll find this of interest to see the types of documents that are used by high net worth families to kind of govern their operations, very much like a business. And so you'll see that, I think, as we work through this particular chapter.
Okay, hopefully I have set it up properly for you. You can now move on to the next video, which it's about an 8 or 10 minute summary of this deck that I'm currently in, which begins here, and we move to the second slide. This is where I lay out those 7 imperatives as described in that excellent book on wealth management. And hope you enjoy that discussion as well. Let me know if you have any questions.